Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, let's just jump right in. Passwords. We all hate them, right? This constant headache of trying to remember hundreds of unique, complex things.
Yeah, and it's not just annoying, it's fundamentally insecure. Expecting people to manage that, it's practically impossible.
Totally. So do people reuse them or they use weak ones? Even password managers, which help. I mean, there's still software, still a target.
A big target. Hackers love those centralized databases.
Right.
It just creates this huge vulnerability.
Exactly. But what if we could just get rid of passwords, completely, and actually be more secure doing it?
Well, that's what we're diving into today. Passkeys. It's the tech that's poised to do exactly that. The password killer, basically.
And you listening right now, you might have already bumped into this. Seen prompts on websites, maybe.
You click a button, you scan your finger, and poof, you're in. Seems almost like magic. Maybe even, I don't know, a bit insecure because it's so easy.
Right. But it's
super simple. What are they?
Think of them like digital keys for your accounts. They unlock stuff, just like a password, but crucially, you don't have to remember them.
And they use the fingerprint thing on my phone.
Exactly. They rely on the biometrics you already use and trust fingerprint, face scan, or even just your device PIN. That part is just for unlocking the key on your device.
Okay, so my face scan doesn't get sent to Google or whatever.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. That's key. When you log in, the biometric check just happens locally on your device. It unlocks a special digital signature that your device then creates.
A signature?
Yeah, a cryptographic signature. It proves it's really your device trying to log in. It basically forms this secure link between that specific phone or laptop and the website or app.
Right. So no memorization for me, but how does the website know it's legit? That's the cryptography part, I guess.
That's where the clever maths comes in. It's all built on something called public key infrastructure, PKI.
PKI sounds familiar.
Oh, yeah. It's been around for decades.
Yeah.
Asymmetric encryption, super well established, very secure. It's just finding a really great use case here.
Okay, so walk me through setting one up. What happens?
Right. When you enable a passkey for a site, your device, your phone, your laptop generates a pair of related keys, mathematically linked.
2 keys, okay.
First, there's the private key. This is a really important one. It never leaves your device, ever. It's stored securely, usually in a special hardware chip protected by your fingerprint or face scan.
Never leaves the device.
Yeah.
And the second key?
That's the public key. This one is sent to the website or application you're signing up for. They store the public key.
Uh-oh. So the company is storing something about my login again. How is that better than them storing my password even if it's hashed?
But that's the magic of asymmetric encryption. The public key can verify a signature made by the private key, but you absolutely cannot use the public key to figure out the private key.
So even if a hacker steals the website's database of public keys...
It does them almost no good. They can't reverse it to get your private key. They can't use the public key to log in. It's mathematically designed to be a one-way street. That irreversibility, that's the core security advantage.
Okay, that is a huge difference. Which brings us neatly to the security benefits. This seems to just wipe out huge categories of attack.
Instantly. Think about massive data breaches where millions of passwords get dumped online.
Yeah, happens all the time.
With Passkeys, if that happens, the hackers get a list of public keys, useless for logging in, and credential stuffing, where they take stolen passwords from one site and try them everywhere else.
Gone. Because each Passkeys is unique to each site. You can't reuse it even if you wanted to.
Exactly.
Right.
To actually break into your account using a passkey, a hacker would need your physical device and your fingerprint or face or PIN.
Wow. So the risk shifts from the website's database security to my own physical device security.
Which is a much, much smaller attack surface. It localizes the risk dramatically.
Okay, but let me push back a bit here. You mentioned the keys can sync across devices, right? Like through iCloud or Google's backup.
Yes.
Isn't that just creating another central point of failure? Swapping a password manager vault for Apple's or Google's vault? Sounds like a bigger, juicier target to me.
That's a fair question, and it's definitely something people worry about. The key difference is how that syncing happens and what is actually being synced. Well, first, the private key itself, even when synced, is heavily protected. It's usually end-to-end encrypted, meaning even Apple or Google can't see the raw key. And it's often tied to the secure hardware modules on your other devices, too. It's not just sitting in a simple file somewhere.
So it's a much more robust system than just a master password protecting a list of passwords.
Vastly more complex, yes.
Okay.
The architecture is designed precisely to prevent mass theft of usable keys. It's a significant leap forward in how we handle and protect these secrets, even when providing convenience like syncing.
Okay, that makes sense. Defense in depth. And beyond just the raw security, the usability, that might be the real game changer for getting people to actually use this.
Absolutely. Number one, no more memorizing anything. That alone is huge. Think about family members, maybe less tech savvy folks who just reuse password 123 everywhere because it's easy.
Yeah, my Aunt Mildred.
Exactly. This helps them be secure without having to become security experts or use complicated tools they don't trust.
And the phishing thing, you mentioned that earlier. How does it stop phishing?
Right. So phishing usually tricks you into typing your password into a fake website. But with a passkey, there's nothing to type. The login relies on that cryptographic signature generated by your actual device interacting with the real website. A fake site can't replicate that interaction.
Because fake site doesn't have the right public key registered?
Or rather, your device knows it's talking to fakelogin.com, not realbank.com, and it simply won't generate the signature for the wrong domain. The browser and the OS are involved in verifying the site's identity before the passkey is even used.
Clever. Okay, and what about losing my phone? If my key is tied to my device, am I completely locked out if I drop my phone in the lake?
Nope. That's where the syncing we just talked about comes in. Because the passkey is usually synced securely across your trusted devices, your laptop, your tablet. Losing one device doesn't lock you out of everything. You can use another one of your devices to log in and then manage or revoke the keys from the lost device.
So, not tied to one single bit of hardware. That's critical. Okay, this sounds pretty great, but nothing's perfect. We need to talk about the downsides, the critical context.
Definitely. And the first big one is a socioeconomic critique, the digital divide. Meaning this tech relies on people having reasonably modern personal devices with biometrics or secure post hands. What about people who don't? People who rely on, say, library computers or shared devices.
Right. Public access terminals or maybe older phones without the right hardware.
Exactly. Those users are kind of left behind. They can't use passkeys easily or at all. So they're stuck with the old vulnerable methods, passwords, email recovery loops, things passkeys are meant to fix.
So it potentially widens the gap where people who can afford the latest tech get the best security and others don't.
It's a real risk, yeah. We need fallback options, but those fallbacks often remain the weakest link.
And then there's the other angle, the sort of vendor lock-in concern. This feels a bit like Apple, Google, Microsoft pushing their systems, right?
Well, yes and no. They are implementing it based on an open standard, the FIDO standard. But how they implement the syncing and management often ties into their specific ecosystems. Apple Passkeys work seamlessly within the Apple ecosystem, Google's within Google's, Microsoft's with Windows Hello.
So if my business is all in on Microsoft 365, we're likely using Windows Hello Passkeys. But what about me as an individual?
That's where the friction can appear. Say you have an iPhone, so your passkeys sync via iCloud. But maybe you use a Windows PC for work or gaming.
Yeah, pretty common setup.
Trying to log into a website on your Windows PC using the passkey stored on your iPhone. That's not seamless. You can't just magically use the iPhone's private key on the Windows machine.
So how does that work? Do I have to create a separate passkey on the PC?
You could, but the intended solution for cross-platform use involves a QR code. The Windows machine shows a QR code on the login screen. You scan that QR code with your iPhone. Your phone then uses Bluetooth or maybe the local network to securely communicate with the PC, performs the authentication using its private key, and tells the PC, yep, this user is legit. The private key still never leaves the iPhone.
Huh. So it works, but it's clunky. I need both devices right there. I need to scan a code. It sort of defeats the purpose of frictionless login, doesn't it?
It adds friction back in, absolutely. Especially compared to just logging in on devices within the same ecosystem. It's a workaround that highlights the ecosystem boundaries. Remember, the original idea years ago involved things like separate hardware keys, like YubiKeys.
Right, I remember those, the little USB things.
Yeah, but they had limited storage, maybe 25 keys, and the user experience wasn't great. Putting the authenticator into the phone makes it way more convenient, but also ties it more closely to that phone's ecosystem.
Okay, so there are definitely wrinkles to iron out. But let's be clear, even with these issues, passkeys seem like a massive improvement, but not a silver bullet, right? They don't fix everything.
Correct. They are primarily about fixing authentication, proving you are who you say you are when you log in. They don't, for example, directly prevent session token theft.
Session token theft. Remind me what that is.
So after you log in successfully with your passkey, the website gives your browser a temporary pass, like a digital badge. That's the session token. It lets you navigate the site for a while without having to use your passkey on every single page load.
Makes sense.
But Sophisticated attacks, like cross-site scripting or malware on your computer, can sometimes steal that temporary token after you've logged in.
And if the hacker gets that token,
They can potentially hijack your active session and impersonate you, at least until that token expires or you log out. Passkeys make getting the initial login much, much harder, but protecting the session after login still depends a lot on how the website itself is built and how your browser is secured. The devil's in the details, as always.
right. It's a huge step, but not the only step needed for total security. But, my biggest worry right now is actually the transition itself, this idea of vestigial risk.
Ah, yes. The leftover password problem.
Exactly. So I go to my bank website, I enable a passkey. Great. But what happens to the username and password I set up 5 years ago? Is it still active?
Often, yes. It frequently remains as a backup login method, unless the website explicitly disables or removes it when you add the passkey.
And that seems like the biggest hole right now. That old password, probably reused, probably exposed in some breach years ago.
It's just sitting there,
Yeah.
waiting to be used. If a hacker gets hold of that old password from any breach database and the site still accepts it, they can just waltz right in, completely bypassing your shiny new passkey.
Makes you feel secure, but you're not, really. Not completely. Until that old password door is firmly shut and locked.
Precisely. Websites really need to be aggressive about expiring legacy credentials when users adopt passkeys. Otherwise, we're just layering security without removing the old vulnerabilities, leaving this unnecessary risk hanging around.
So the transition period, it's going to be messy. It'll take years for sites to adopt this and clean up the old stuff.
It will, but the direction is right. And the good news is you can start using them now. Major players, Google, PayPal, eBay, Best Buy, lots of others already support them. Check your security settings. If you see an option to add a passkey, absolutely do it.
Okay, good advice.
So bottom line, passkeys are a really crucial piece of defense in depth. They strike a much better balance between strong security and actual usability than passwords ever could.
Yeah.
The transition will be seamless. It'll take time, but it's the way forward.
Definitely feels that way. Okay, final thought to leave everyone with. We talked about vendor lock-in ecosystems, Apple, Google, etc. If passkeys become the default, seamlessly locking us into, say, the Apple ecosystem or the Google ecosystem because all our logins are tied there, could that convenience become an even bigger barrier to switching platforms than just the hassle of moving photos or contacts ever was? Will we trade the annoyance of forgotten passwords for a different kind of digital handcuff, all for the sake of an easy login?
That's a really interesting question. Will convenience create a deeper, stickier form of lock-in? Something to chew on.
Indeed. And that brings us to the end of this deep dive. Our thanks again to our sponsor, Stonefly, a leader in enterprise storage, backup, and disaster recovery, AI storage, and cloud solutions. If you're looking for secure, ransomware-proof storage, then Stonefly sells air-gapped and immutable storage. Contact sales at stonefly.com to schedule a demo. We appreciate you joining us for this analysis. Until the next deep dive, stay curious.